What's up, all you cool snakes and neonates? How's it going? I hope you are all keeping well. So, you awesome bunch, we've got a video today. We've been selling these baby stick insects, so I thought I better put out a video. How to care for Indian stick insects. A lot of other species are very similar to this as well, but we just keep Indian stick insects, so we're just going to say it's an Indian stick insect care guide. They could do with a bit of a house increase. So the stick insects, I actually need this house for our mangrove snake, so we're going to put the stick insects from that into that. I just hit the light bulb when I did that. I need more room. So yeah, stick insects are going to go into a much bigger enclosure. I'll explain why very soon in the video. So without further ado, let's get into prepping the bigger enclosure.
You talking to me?
You talking to me? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about me?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about me?
So whenever I am housing any of my animals, doesn't matter if it's snakes, lizards, bug species, spiders, anything like that, I always step up. Bats? We don't keep bats. Okay, Theo's bat, yes. Theo made a bat for Halloween. There we go. So, we always step their enclosure sizes up. Usually for comfort of the creatures. However, with the stick insects, I do it for a slightly different reason. So when we sell our babies, we do five babies we sell at a time. I would recommend one of these enclosures here. Tea candle in front of them for size reference. So you start off with this little enclosure, and then go up to this bigger sort of foot by foot aquarium size enclosure. And this would be fine for your 5 adults. And then when they start popping some babies, you'd be fine with that. But then once that litter of babies starts to get older, they start to get more crowded. It's harder to keep the food continuously going because they'll demolish the food. And then because they're getting larger, you'll notice them on top of each other a lot more. When they get on top of each other, their feet are very grippy, and without meaning it, they'll start to tear each other's legs off and appendages off because they're climbing over each other, and there's all this movement going on, and they start to tear legs off. So once you see them start to sort of overlapping each other, you definitely want to up their enclosure size. So that's what we're going to do today. This is quite a big colony we've got going in here. They've been starting to clamber over each other, and we've noticed a few legs missing. So that's why we are then going to go up to this, which is a 65 litre tub. It should be good for them, and I'm going to try a little design to make life a little bit easier.
You should put the animals in there.
We should put the animals in there. That's what we're doing, impatient. So I put the privet stocks in these. These are what you get slings in or anything like that. And fill it with water. So I was going to cut a hole in the side, put them in the side diagonally like that and have them hanging out, but then the stuff would sag. So I think I'm just going to silicone them straight to the bottom like that. And then the branches can go in there, they can branch out. What I normally do with the old enclosures is I'll pull the old stuff out, put it into another tank or into another holding receptacle with stick insects on it, fill up these pots with new stuff, and then take time to put every stick insect back in the enclosure. Whereas when I'm doing it like this, I can put the branches in, stick insects in. When the branches all die off, take the branch out, plop it there, put the new branches in there. Stick insects will automatically come off there, up onto the new branches, and then once they've done that, I can take the old stuff out like the next day or the day after or whatever. There would be no hurry for that. That would be a lot easier and more cost effective and better, I would think. So let's see if it works. Right, so we've got the little pots glued in. I took a screw, heated it up and put about like 3 little air holes on each side just to get some air circulation in there. Because these guys do poop a lot, so I tend not to use... Yes, you do. So, when they're youngsters, I tend to put them on kitchen roll. Right, come on now. Get out my sight, Theo, I'm trying to record. So when they're youngsters, they poop a lot. So I put them on kitchen roll. But as they get older, it gets a bit tedious changing all that bedding. Instead of kitchen roll, I use topsoil because you can put earthworms in there, you can put slaters in there, isopods, any sort of cleanup crew in there, and that helps take care of all of that stick insect poop when your colony gets quite big, and it also takes care of any rotten leaves that are left on the ground. They will eat them all and ingest them all. And then I just put the privet in the pots, and it just is the way that I do it, and it seems quite easy. Let's put some of that substrate over into this one. So that is already our little setup made. It's not the prettiest to look at, but it's going to be very functional when you're dealing with large colony animals like this. You want it to be functional. You don't want to have to take care of every single individual animal of 100 animal colony, you know. So I've used this flip type lid rather than this type of lid, because this lid will actually seal when you put it on, whereas the other lid has holes around the outside for ventilation, which is easily enough for baby stick insects to fit through. You would be amazed at what a small gap a baby stick insect can fit through. So even with these 3 little air holes on each side that I've put in this, they're just minute. A little tip for you guys, when, not if, when you guys find some escapees, is to get a bit of kitchen roll, fold it up like that, make it into like a scooper, and then you can scoop them off walls and things like that. You see that? Boom. Look at that.
What's your favorite?
Look at that. The Indian stick insect. Cool little animals, fantastic little first pets. I will warn you, getting these guys for your kids as first pets, it starts with this, but it can move on to animals like this, or animals like this. The Indian stick insect, as the name suggests, from India, Southeast Asia. These guys are pretty cool. They were my first animal, as I just mentioned, as a kid. You see this one here has very bumpy tail on it. It is actually full of eggs. She's full of eggs, yes. There was never a male in the colony though. How is she full of eggs, I hear you ask? Because stick insects, like many other insects and more basic organisms, can reproduce through parthenogenesis. And this is basically, they clone themselves. They lay fertile eggs that are perfect copies of themselves. So every egg will be born female and they will constantly reproduce. As far as I'm aware, if you add a male into the colony, they then lose the capability to reproduce through parthenogenesis. But as long as it's only females in your colony, you're only going to get clones of that female. Shut up. Fantastic animals. Really, really easy to keep and care for. The things they eat, the main things that I find around me are privet hedges, which you'll find in every second garden. If you don't have one, speak nicely to your neighbour and ask them if you can take a few cuttings off now and then. I'm sure they won't mind. A lot of people actually neglect their privet hedges, so you'll see them growing over pathways and things like that. They can also eat brambles. So you could go out for a walk somewhere and find brambles and just take a stem with a load of leaves off of it. And they can also eat ivy. Again, you'll find that there's loads of places you can find all of those 3 plants. There's probably a bit more they can eat, but that's the 3 main ones I know that they can eat around us. And I'd really just give them privet. We have a privet hedge on the side of the house, so all I give them is privet. I just nip out, grab some. Before winter comes, when the privet slows down in its growth and comes to a halt with its growth, I just let a section of it grow wild, and that way it keeps us going through the winter. Just take a snippet off now and then. So really stupidly easy to feed, very easy to house, as you guys have just seen, a plastic tub. If you want to have a really nice bonny enclosure, you can use a fish tank or something like that with a clear front on it, but I'll warn you, you'll need to wipe it off now and then as well. Also, when it comes to temperature, the golden rule with these guys is that if you are comfortable in your t-shirt, they're going to be comfortable. If you're feeling a bit chilly and having to put on extra layers, it's probably going to start getting a bit cold for these guys. So as long as you're comfortable, they're comfortable. There's no need for any excess heat lamps, heat mats, or anything like that, guys. Just keep it room temperature. And one of their defence mechanisms is actually to straighten out all their legs, look like a twig and fall straight to the ground like a twig falling out of a tree. So don't worry about dropping them. They are extremely hardy little animals. Aren't you, buddy? These guys are not easy to film with. So when it comes to lifespan, these guys will live 1 to 2 years long. However, if you get a good colony going, you can keep them for years. They will just keep reproducing and reproducing those eggs, and you can keep them as long as you want, which is absolutely fascinating for the kids to see them going through their life cycle, see the adults lay the eggs hatch out into tiny little babies, the babies grow up and go through that whole process again. It's really cool for the kids to watch. It's cool for anyone to watch, really. I still enjoy it, and I'm 31 years old. Water wise, when they're youngsters, when they're babies, I tend to give them just a little spray, just a tiny mist down, just to get a couple of water droplets here and there. I do see the babies sort of run for the water droplets when I give them a spray down. As adults, they'll pretty much get all of their moisture from the leaves. If you do have only a colony of babies, or if you've just got your 5 babies to start off with, what I sometimes do is just tear 1 or 2 of the leaves, because sometimes they can't bite into the leaves. Their jaws aren't strong enough yet, so they need an adult to eat into them, and then they'll come behind them and eat the softer, more open leaves. And that's about the gist of it. They are super easy. Don't be scared if you see one becoming 2, because like all other animals with exoskeletons, they will molt. So as they grow, they outgrow their skeleton that's on the outside of their body, so they will molt, they will shed off that skeleton and be nice and new and soft underneath. Start off sort of green, and by the end they're sort of like a dark brown. So there we go, there is the Indian stick insect. If you have a close look, they've got a face only a mother could love. But awesome, amazing pets for your kids. If you are successful in them reproducing, I will warn you, you'll have more than you'll know what to do with at some point, so you will want to start culling, like freezing eggs, or handing them out to friends and stuff like that, guys. So that was the Indian stick insect there. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, like, subscribe, comment, share the channel around. You guys know what you're doing, you awesome bunch. From me, the stick insects, and the rest of the gang, take it easy, guys. Peace.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. When is it lunchtime?
I've had that.
Right now, you're going to poo. And this is what it looks like when it's slime. Are you seeing a lot of hearts? What them for? They're for farting.
Try it. You could use all sorts of little things so that, because these guys do poop a lot, so I tend not to use.
So do I.
Yes, you do. So when they're youngsters, I tend to put them on kitchen roll. Right, come on now. Get out my sight, Theo, I'm trying to record.